so humbled to be here today because we're just the regular foster parents. There's nothing special about us. When I was asked to speak, they said, hey, you'll have about 3 to 5 minutes. And I said, do you realize I'm from the South? I can't say my name and where I'm from in 3 to 5 minutes. But I do want to share with you today a different idea of a hero. Mr. Webster defines a hero as a person of noble quality, distinguished courage, admired for their brave deeds. But I have 2 different experiences that I want to tell you about that we've had with our foster children. And I hope that it will let you see just really how important what you're doing here today truly is. The second placement we had in our home was a sibling group of 3 children, ages 12, 10, and 6. And when we went to the first case plan, I had put together a journal for the parents of what we had been doing, life events with their children, the loss of a first tooth, how to tie a shoe, how to ride a bike, their first day at school. And I had put a photo album together also. We had taken a trip back south, and they had went with us, and just a lot of firsts that they were getting to do. They had never got to play a sport. They had never had a birthday party. So we blew it out with a tea party for the little girl turning 6, and I invited every little girl that I knew. She didn't know any of them, but I invited every little girl that I knew to celebrate that party with us, and so I put that together. But I'll never forget one of the days when we were leaving a visit at KVC. And after about the 3rd hug, the dad walked away, and I saw in his eyes hopelessness. And as he walked to the bus stop with his shoulders slumped and his head down, we drove past him with his kids in our car. And I just couldn't get that image out of my head. After we went to monitored visits, we got permission to invite him to his son's last soccer game. And he had never played soccer, and he really didn't know how to play, but we cheered him on every week anyway. And so that dad, as he walked on the sidelines, I started to see a spark of hopefulness. That hopelessness was beginning to fade. And as he yelled on the sidelines for his son didn't know he was coming. But he heard him. He heard his dad. And he started to kick that ball just a little bit harder and run a little bit faster. And so after the soccer game, we celebrated the end of the season, and his dad got to go with us to the pizza party and got to experience that. And then his daughter played basketball, and he got to experience that. And then we invited him over for Thanksgiving dinner. And we were a little apprehensive about that. We had not had one of the bio parents in our home before, but we just felt like it was important. That's what KVC had trained us to do, to be a part of the family's life, not just a part of the kids, but about a healing of the entire family. So we invited him over, and after about an hour, he said, can I stay just a little bit longer? Because an hour is what they normally have as a visit. And we said, sure, you stay as long as you want. And they were out there playing basketball and just had a good day. Those kids went home 4 months ago. And I want to say that they're doing really, really well. And in fact, we invited them over to our home just a couple of weeks ago, and we cooked out and we went fishing on our farm and had watermelon afterwards. And it was such a joy to see that man's life, how he had transformed, and how well he was doing with his children. And that was a great story, and it was what has inspired us to go. And I was just so thankful how KVC has walked with us through this journey and has been alongside of us the entire way. I can't imagine even have taken this journey without them. The other story I want to tell you about is a little girl who was age 6, and she had traumatic stress syndrome and reactive attachment disorder, and she's completely stolen our hearts. There's been so much damage done to this little girl that she doesn't even know how to receive love. She doesn't know how to take hugs and kisses. But she wants a forever family. In fact, after 2 days being in our home, she started calling us mom and dad. In the last morning that she was with us, she was sitting on the floor, and I was putting her hair up with bows, and she was going back to school for the first time in a while, and she said, "Miss Becky, can I stay with you forever?" And I said, "Well, not forever, but a couple of weeks." And she started negotiating how many weeks that she could stay. So I took her to school that morning, and I really don't know what triggered it, but she ran from the school. And she ran into an apartment complex that was not in the safest part of Kansas City, Kansas, but I went after her. And because all I could think about was, if that was my little girl, I would want somebody to rescue her. And so we went into the apartment complex, and I finally got to her, and the police came. The school had called the police, and so she had to go back to the hospital, back into KVC's hospital. And as we were riding back in the police squad car, this big, burly, tough policeman who had put us in the back of the squad car, which my kids said, "Did you get a picture of that? I'd like to see a picture of that with my mom in the squad car." I will say that's the first time I've ever been in the back of a squad car. But as we were riding to the hospital, and she had calmed down, and we were just playing and talking and singing, and I was singing that old Sunday school song, "Jesus loves the little children, red, yellow, black, and white. They are precious in His sight." And even that burly, tough policeman got a little choked up on that one. And so we got to the hospital, and the therapist came out, and she just reached out her hand, and the little girl took her hand. And they walked arm in arm, swinging arms like they were walking to the park. But there's hope for this little girl, too. And these cases are not just numbers or cases to KVC. They truly care about these children, just like we do. And they will heal this little girl. It just takes time, love, and attention. We found that in our home, that no matter how desperate the situation is, just time, love, and attention makes a big difference in these kids' lives. If you want to know the true definition of a hero, because I thought a lot about this, what is a hero? And I would say it's the kids who come through the foster care system, because sometimes it takes every breath that they have of courage and bravery to keep walking, just to take that breath every single day and just to continue going in this journey. To me, those are the true heroes. As we've had little boys come through our home, we've had to buy the latest superhero, the little plastic superheroes. And you know what? These kids are looking for more than just a plastic hero to rescue them. I would ask today that you consider being one of those heroes, an everyday hero. Make an extraordinary impact on the life of these children who needs more than just these plastic heroes. Unless, of course, that plastic is Visa or MasterCard. I don't know. Do we take Visa or MasterCard? Okay. Please ask yourself today, what can I do? My husband and I and our daughter, Kelsey, are moving to Georgia next month. And that's both sad occasion because we are sorry to leave Kansas, but it's a happy occasion too. Because of the influence of KVC, we've decided to open a home for foster children aging out of the system. When we heard that 30,000 kids every year are turned out into the world to make it on their own, and only a 2%, they only have a 2% chance of making it if they don't have a mentor, someone to encourage them. And we heard that and we said, somebody's got to do something. And then we said, why not us? Why don't we do something? And so we're moving back south, and we're opening this home. We're going to continue to foster, and the state of Georgia does not have a KVC. So I hope to take the things that I've learned here and be able to help them and guide them. And in fact, they have turned to the faith-based community because they know that they're failing. And they have asked them to put together a community-based foster care program. That's what KVC is. And we're hoping that we can be a part of that as well. Would ask you today to ask the same question that my husband and I had to ask ourselves: why not me? You may not be able to open your home to a child, but you can open your checkbook and your heart today. By doing that, it's equally as important as what we do. KVC, we need KVC. The foster parents need KVC, and KVC needs you. Leanne Toohey, you may know her from the movie The Blind Side, has a quote on her website that says, "Everyone has a blind side, but a loving heart always sees a path to true charity." Don't have a blind side today. Be a hero. Thank you.